Hey, it's Kim and welcome back to Pokemon Breaks. Today we have another starting your collection video, and I wanted to talk about the how and why of starting a sealed Pokemon collection. I want to preface this video by very clearly saying that this is not financial advice. I am not qualified to give financial advice to anyone. I don't know enough about anything. I'm not a financial advisor. I'm not even a super Pokemon expert. There's lots of people that know way more than me. The other side of it is I think it's really important for all of us to think critically about these kinds of videos. I would take any advice you get about investing in Pokemon or anything else online with a grain of salt. And I think the reality is that if someone knew a bunch of secrets about how to make a whole lot of money out of something, I don't know that they would be shouting it from the rooftops. I'm a pretty nice person, and to be honest, I probably wouldn't be. So I think it's really important that you as an individual take responsibility for your financial decisions. Don't defer to people online to tell you how to spend your money. That's it. Personally, I really like having a sealed collection for a few different reasons. From an aesthetic and display point of view, I think sealed products are really beautiful. I love having them on the shelf. I like being able to look at them. I think they are quite beautifully reminiscent of different eras in my Pokemon collecting journey. So it's nice to be able to look back on sets that I've really enjoyed and products that I really enjoyed and have them in this beautiful, unadulterated format. I think it is really, really lovely. From a financial point of view, I guess one thing I like to bear in mind is that sealed products generally won't depreciate in value much below what you pay for them. There is a caveat to that, and the reality is that that's going to depend on how much you pay for things, which we'll talk about in a minute. But in general, a sealed product over time will appreciate in value, and there's a few reasons for that. When people get into collecting Pokemon, one of the biggest things that they really like is the experience of opening cards. And if you're buying products and you're opening all the cards and you have the cards, if you want to sell your collection or sell parts of your collection down the track, you cannot resell that experience. That experience is gone. You've had it. So if I hold on to sealed products and I am selling them to someone else, they know that they're going to get the experience of opening the product. And if it's a set or if it's a product that they really enjoyed or missed out on or are super excited about, that experiential value is going to add to how much they're willing to pay for that product that I'm selling them. The other side of it that I really think is having sealed products is something that really can canonize a set. And when you have collectors and people that are really passionate about a particular set or a particular product, or they're getting back into it and they're really excited to get into something, being able to access this sealed product for them is going to add value because that's something that they wouldn't have otherwise gotten to experience, which I think is really, really great. The other side of it, when we think about the financial aspect of sealed versus actually opening your products, is really taking a second to consider the economics of Pokemon. And the reality is that once you open the product, it's definitely going to be worth less than what you paid for majority of the time. If we think about particular sets and the pull rates, just as an example, if you look at Vivid Voltage, you can buy a booster box of Vivid Voltage and your chances of pulling that Rainbow Pikachu are very, very low. If you pulled one, absolutely, that would cover the cost of your box and a little bit more, and that's fantastic, but the chances of pulling it are extraordinarily low. And the same thing goes for pretty much every other set. Even our sets that have a high number of chase cards and some reasonably high value cards, the likelihood of you actually pulling those is quite low. And the more products that you open, the more likely you are to get towards that average of are you pulling the chase card or not? And the reality is that on average, you're not going to be pulling chase cards. Vast majority of the time, the number of boxes or the number of products that you open, you are depreciating the value by opening it. The promise of a potential chase card inside of a pack or a box is worth more than the cards that are inside 98% of the time. And that's something that we all need to accept as collectors. I think that it is a little bit of gambling when we open these products. And personally, I like to assume the worst. I find that In that way, I'm generally more excited about the things that I find. And if you assume sort of the law of averages, the likelihood is that you're not going to get all the chase cards. You're not going to get many of the chase cards at all. And that's okay. I think if you can be happy with that, you will still enjoy opening products when you do. You will still really enjoy your collection. And you're definitely going to save some money in the long run, because opening all of the products and opening all of the things, you're going to get closer to that law of averages, and in all likelihood it's all going to even out, and you're not going to exceed the value of anything that you have opened. You're likely to lose money in the long term if you are just opening products all the time. The main exception to that would probably be if you have access to, and again, this is a very specific exception. The main exception to that would be if you have access to products immediately upon release, and you're able to open things up way before everyone gets everything, and you can sell the singles in that very initial phase where everyone is just hyped and going crazy for the set and willing to pay sort of the super exorbitant prices. If you're able to do that, you probably could make some money by opening products, but in all likelihood, in a general sense, most of us are not in that position. I don't know about all of the legalities of opening things up early or anything like that. So I think most of us are not in that position. And generally, you're going to be in a better position in terms of the value of the products that you have if you can keep them sealed and move them on in that way, because you can sell that experiential value on to someone else. I really think the best way to sort of make a little bit of cash off of Pokemon is to buy something, put it in a box, and don't look at it for a few years. One of the other examples, I have those Small But Mighty boxes on my shelf in the background, if you can see them in the corner. I picked those up from EB Games a few years ago when they came out. There were tons of them. People were not overly interested in them. The RRP on those was $29.99. I bought them because I thought they were really cute. The other thing I like is that there's a few other bits and pieces in there. So there's the keychain, there's the pin, and that kind of signaled to me that that's not a product that Pokemon's likely to reprint. So once those are gone, I figured they were probably gone. I think that they're popular Pokemon. That influenced my decision as well. I think they're cute. I like them. Other people like them. So they're popular Pokemon. They're unlikely to be reprinted. So it's kind of a niche product. I've had those sitting there for a few years, haven't really thought about them, haven't been overly tempted to open them. I think they're cute the way they are. And I had a look at the prices the other day, and I was totally floored to find that it's increased by about 400%. That's a massive increase. And it's the same thing with something like the Eevee Heroes box. I bought those a few years ago. I definitely paid more than RRP. With Japanese products, it's pretty much impossible for anyone outside of Japan to get things at recommended retail. It's just, that's the facts of life. It's okay. I paid a decent price for those a few years ago. It wasn't too terrible. And those have now gone up to $600 or $700. Like, it's insane. So sitting on those again for a few years has definitely increased their value over time. Again, those are popular Pokemon. People really like Evolutions. The Espeon promo in there is exclusive. People like being able to get exclusive things. So those are all things that I tend to consider when I'm looking at what I want to buy to keep sealed. In reality, though, it doesn't have to be all niche products if you want to keep a sealed collection. I think realistically, any product that you buy, even if it's a Elite Trainer box from a standard set or a booster box of a standard set, over time, it's going to appreciate in value. And if you can time your purchase well and you can get a good deal, you're definitely going to be in a better position. I'll give you one example. So Chilling Reign is a set that at the moment is not overly popular. The pull rates, I think, disappointed some people. There's not a huge number of chase cards that are really big name Pokemon that people get really excited about. But in reality, it is a fun set. It's a beautiful set, and it's something that people are really sleeping on at the moment. You can get boxes in Australia, at least, well below recommended retail. It's not hard to find. It is honestly everywhere. Over time, again, the prices for that will go up. There will be people that want to reminisce about that set and maybe want to open it and will be willing to pay for that experiential value. And as the availability goes down, the prices will inevitably go up. Again, I'm not telling you to go out and buy a bunch of Chilling Reign. I'm just saying that If you want to keep a sealed collection, it doesn't need to be super fancy, expensive, or different language products. It can be things that are just available, readily available, particularly if you can get them at a decent price. Another really good example of that might be something like Shining Fates. So when Shining Fates first released in Australia, the Elite Trainer boxes were so hard to come by. I remember people were selling them for $150 to $160, which is well above recommended retail. Since then, they've done so many reprints that you can quite easily find Shining Fates for around $90 a box, which is a bit lower than recommended retail. Picking up a couple of those at that kind of price and sitting on them for a couple of years, I'm pretty confident that there are still going to be some people that are interested, and the market is going to be a little bit depleted of them, so you're likely to make a little bit of cash. Again, not saying go out and buy a bunch of Shining Fates. That's just an example of something that I think would be a reasonably safe buy at the kind of prices where things are sitting now. If you can buy products below MSRP or at least at MSRP and sit on them for a couple of years, they will eventually be worth a little bit more than what you paid. It's kind of difficult, potentially impossible, to really predict the market and know what people are going to be excited about in the future. I usually think about what products or cards have popular Pokemon or trainers that I think people might continue to be interested in. That was why I bought those small but mighty boxes as an example. Think about more niche products, so things that are a little bit more special. They might have a bit of a bonus. I think that Celebrations figure collection is another example of something that has something a bit special, something different that they don't do all of the time. Again, there's going to be tons of these things floating around right now, and that's okay, because if you can pick up a couple when they're at a decent price, you're not fighting anyone for it. Just hold on to one or two, keep it, and see how you go. One little bit of advice, one bugbear I have when it comes to keeping sealed collection, and you may notice I have quite a few things behind me. I usually have maybe one or two of something that I'm excited about. I'm not someone that's going to go out and stockpile a bunch of a particular thing. And the reality, the reason I do that is because I think it's important to make sure that there's enough for everybody. I missed out on the ultra premium collection, and that's fine. You don't need to have everything. I don't need to have everything. But I was super disappointed. I remember when I did go to Kmart to look, I know that they had a bit of a restock. There were 5 on the shelf, and this guy that got there, it would have been 20 seconds before me, picked up all 5, put them in his cart. And then as soon as he checked out, he tried to sell me one for nearly double what he'd just paid. And I think there's a lot of people doing stuff like that, and it's really disappointing. I think that when it comes down to this hobby, we should be looking after each other. Don't buy the whole store out. Just don't be a jerk about it. There's enough that we can all enjoy the hobby. I think the other side of it that's been really interesting recently is there was such a huge wave of scalpers in the recent past. And I think the Pokemon Company has done reasonably well at ramping up production so that products are more readily available to everyone. So the scalping thing is kind of a thing of the past. It's a lot easier to access products at retail prices through regular sellers and to not get your, completely price gouged. So I think that is something that's really positive, is that they're ramping up production to actually meet the demands of the collectors. So we're able to sort of push those scalpers out of the market and hopefully get rid of them forever. I like to be as careful as I can with my sealed collection. I keep things on this shelf behind me where they're separated. This room is pretty dry. It's very clean. There's no sunlight in here unless I'm specifically sitting in here filming, so they are kept in the dark. The sun can definitely fade them. I keep them free from dust. I'm not someone that's gone out and bought a bunch of special Perspex boxes. They're pretty expensive. They look really cool. If I could afford it, I'd probably think about it, but I'm pretty happy having them on the shelf. I think they're pretty safe. So that's the way I've tended to approach storage. Depending on your situation, I think probably the biggest things would be making sure that you can keep them from getting crushed or crinkled or wet or damp. Because if you are wanting to sell them on later, obviously people are going to want a product that's in good shape because they want that first sort of good experience of opening the product. And if the outer packaging is damaged, it can definitely deplete that value. And the other thing is you might be looking for people to buy it that still want to keep it sealed and keep it on display. So if you can keep things in really good nick, that's definitely really important. There's no reason that you have to buy any particular product or type of product for your sealed collection. I think that realistically, you could keep anything in your sealed collection. It depends on your budget. It depends on what you're interested in. I know that there's people that keep single sealed blisters in their sealed collection. There's people that keep the triple blisters, people that focus more on ETBs or booster boxes. I think generally in English, that's a relatively safe bet because often people do want those kind of canonizing products. Those are the standard products. That's what people are used to. If someone down the track is looking to buy products to open, they might not necessarily think to look for a blister pack, for example, but they might be focusing more on an ETB. So I would say those kinds of products are generally safer. You can also look more for those special products. So when we think about special sets, they come with things like tins or figure collections. I think those special products are also definitely worth considering keeping sealed, particularly with things like figure collections. I think those ones are a little bit more special, a little bit more niche. So down the track, people might really want that experience. And there's probably likely to be fewer of them sealed in the market several years later as compared to something like an Elite Trainer box where they might be more readily available. And obviously, the more that's available, the less potential value you might have as a seller. As I said, at the end of the day, please take anything I've had to say in this video with a grain of salt. I am not qualified to give you any form of financial advice. This is just my personal opinion. These are some of the things that I like to think about with my sealed collection. It's something that I enjoy, but it may not be for you. That's totally okay. I think that we all need to make our own decisions about how we spend our money. Don't let people on the internet tell you what to do. You're presumably an adult. You get to decide what you do with your money, and you're the only one that's going to have to live with the consequences. So that's been my thought process. I really hope it was helpful. If you're interested in seeing more of these starting your collection videos, please leave some comments down below to let me know what you might like to see. I'm always out for new ideas. Again, thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed the video, please leave it a like, please subscribe. I'd love to see more from you. I have all of my socials down in the links below, so Instagram, Twitch, etc. I'd love to keep up with you. Until next time, look after yourself, and I'll see you soon. Bye.